Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beard Brigade. I'm John Solo. You are not. And today is a story time episode. This is a special one for a couple reasons. First off, it's, let me show you the book. Only for the Weekend by Riley Hart. As near as I can tell, this is a standalone, and also this, I know for a fact, is the first project I think that I've recorded for Riley Hart. I say no for a fact, and then I say I think.
Penis.
I don't think I did anything with Riley through like DSP or anything like that years ago. I'm pretty sure I haven't anyways. I didn't recognize the writing style either. So I'm going to positively say this is the first book I've done for Riley Hart. And, dude, I'm enjoying it. Riley Hart is fucking good. So, hey, welcome to the stable, Riley. So the second reason this is a special storytime video is because I am working alone today. I'm not in Discord, and Trace is not with me. Now, Trace, my lovely TNA, has been on vacation for the last 14 years. It seems like a long time. I think it's been less than a week, but god damn, I miss her. So you're not going to hear Trace jumping in the background every 7 words and telling me that I'm an idiot and that I messed up the manuscript and such. That's not going to happen in this one because Trace is on vacation. So, without any more of that, let me read you the summary here. Now, Trace has told me in the past that I should do these summaries if they're first person in the first person voice. So I'm going to attempt that. Here we go. Sam. Nothing in my life is really mine. I take care of my mama, work 3 jobs. I'm there when anyone needs me. Something about the beautiful, lonely man on my mail route interests me. He's different in my world, where everything's the same. I think he hates me, but that doesn't stop me from hand-delivering every package and trying to find ways to make him smile. Then, Emerson makes me an offer. He'll pay to spend the weekends with him, losing ourselves in each other's bodies, no feelings or pasts involved. Friday through Sunday becomes mine. The one thing I do for me. Soon, it's not just the weekends I want, but Emerson. He's got secrets, though, and won't let me in. Emerson. I landed in the small town of Ryland, hoping to disappear. Finding your boyfriend's body and being accused of his murder will do that to a guy. The deal with Sam is supposed to be strictly physical, but it doesn't take me long for the adorable, sweet man to get under my skin. I look forward to his corny jokes, get addicted to the feel of his body against mine. He's got the biggest heart I've ever seen. And with each day, each conversation we have, every laugh we share, Sam brings me back to life. There's a million reasons I should stay away. I'm broken, 15 years older too, and angry. And I can't let my past get out. But Sam makes me want to fight for my happiness if the reward is him. Because having Sam, only for the weekend, will never be enough. Only for the Weekend is a grumpy, sunshine, hurt, comfort, age gap romance with 2 scarred characters who find comfort in each other. There are themes of alcoholism involved as a side character. Well, alcoholism isn't a side character, but a side character has alcoholism. Anyways, that's the summary. Now, what I just recorded was chapter 3. That's what we're going to use for story time today. The beginning of this chapter is kind of unrelated, but then it gets into the 2 of them meeting each other for, I think, this maybe the second or third time, or second time on screen anyways. And that's where you get to it. So enjoy, have fun. I hope you all love this. I will see you soon. Come back, Tracy. Come back to me. Chapter 3. Emerson. "How are you doing?" Charles asked. He called at least once a week, oftentimes more. He'd been the only person to stick by me when everything had gone down, or at least one of the only ones who actually gave a shit. Some had offered great lip service or talked to me so they'd have a story to share, or to try and work through whether I was innocent or not. Charles hadn't doubted me once. I couldn't quite say why. There were times I'd even doubted myself, thought maybe I'd somehow blocked it out. But I hadn't. It was a lot of things. Thought maybe I'd somehow blocked it out. But I hadn't. I was a lot of things. Thought maybe I'd somehow blocked it out. but I hadn't. I was a lot of things, but losing my place on the page happens over and over again. Maybe I'd somehow blocked it out, but I hadn't. I was a lot of things, but a murderer wasn't one of them. Not in the traditional sense of the word. I was guilty of Daniel's death in other ways. I'm the exact same I was when we spoke a few days ago. I told Charles. Nothing has changed. That's the point. I didn't want to be around people anymore. Hell, half the time I wasn't sure I knew how. I'd always been a bit of an asshole, and now it was even worse. Like the other day, the way I'd treated Sam, I could have found a better way to tell him I wasn't interested in whatever it was he wanted from me. Friendship, sex, or even just casual, polite conversation. But instead, I'd been a dick. He was a sweet kid and didn't deserve that, but I was a mess. I was miserable. I didn't have anything to offer anyone anymore. I'm pretty sure you're even grumpier than you were before, so I guess that's something. Ha ha. I was grateful I had Charles. Knew I should find a way to tell him that, but the words were lost to me. When he... Knew I should find a way to tell him that, but the words were lost to me. When I'd called to tell him Daniel had died, he'd been on the first plane back from London. He'd left a conference where he was the keynote speaker. He left a man he had been dating at the time and came back to New York to support me. Charles had lost friends because of me, as well as said boyfriend, but his support never wavered. If I were a better man, I'd thank him for those things instead of pushing him away. But I did everything not to let myself feel anymore, not to let myself have anything. Have you heard from Daniel? Feel anymore, not to let myself have anything. Have you heard from Daniel's parents? His question was both knowing and unsure. Charles technically knew what the answer would be. I'd tried to talk to them before the trial, and once after, tried to tell them I cared about him, that I never would have hurt Daniel, but they didn't believe me. In the 4 years we had been together, I might not have been able to give him what he'd needed, but I never would have hurt him. I hated myself for not being who Daniel had needed me to be. All I had cared about was my business, my status, money, and in that, I hadn't given him the marriage he had wanted. The children. They believe I'd murdered. I hadn't given him the marriage he had wanted. The children. They believe I murdered their son. Charles, what do you think? We hadn't spoken since the trial, but Charles liked to believe they would come around. They know you didn't lay a hand on him. They're just hurting, and you're the easiest person to blame. When I didn't answer right away, he added, "It's not your fault." So you've told me. But if I hadn't gone out, if I'd stayed home the way he wanted, maybe he would be alive. And if I'd gone into the bedroom to talk to him rather than avoiding him after the fight and sleeping on the couch, I might have been able to save him. Or maybe you'd both be dead. Maybe that would have been for the best. I should go. Real busy, are you? So much to do while you're hiding away in that small town not talking to anyone? Yes. Bentley. I sighed. I don't know how to get past it, how to forget it. And I didn't think I deserved to move on. I know. I'm sorry if I'm being a dick. I just worry about you. I knew he did. Charles had lost his brother not long before we met. They'd been close, and one night Charles got drunk and told me I reminded him of Paul. We were the same age, but sometimes I thought Charles felt like he was my big brother, and it was his job to look out for me. Plus, he knew I didn't have anyone else. I'll be fine. Charles let me off the phone a few minutes later. I spent the afternoon doing yard work. Sweat dripped into my eyes, down the side of my face, making me sticky, but I didn't go inside despite the suffocating humidity. It was after 6 when I had my shower, then ordered dinner from the local diner. If it was left up to me to cook today, I wouldn't eat. I wasn't in the mood for it. I plucked out a bottle of water from the fridge. There was a 6-pack of beer on the back of the top shelf that I never drank, but not much else. I turned on the TV for background noise and sat at the table with my laptop in front of me, reading headlines about the case and everyone's opinions who thought I was guilty. It was almost 7 by the time there was a knock on the front door. The second I slid the door open, a frown curled my lips. "Wow," Sam said. "That was quick. You really don't like me, do you? I put you in a bad mood in about a second and a half." He grinned, but I didn't. Still, my pulse rapped a faster beat against my skin. "I don't know you." "I'm not sure you know anyone in town, which is just strange. Everyone knows everyone. Mention my name, and I'm not a you know anyone in town, which is just strange. Everyone knows everyone. Mention my name and not a person in Ryland doesn't know some story or other about me. The most popular one was when I was 8 and decided to run away. I packed a backpack full of individual bags of Doritos. No clothes, flashlight, water, or anything, just Cool Ranch Doritos. They found me in the woods, crying from an upset stomach, with about 25 empty chip bags around me. Not sure why we'd had so many at home in the first place. Everyone seems to like that story. The thing was, everything he said came out so honest, so natural. I thought this was something he might tell anyone, not just me. He wasn't trying to be funny or cute, but he was both those things. Cool Ranch? I found myself asking. But he was both those things. Cool Ranch? I found myself asking. Yeah, nacho cheese is my favorite, but they're Mom's favorite too. So at 8 years old, he had run away from home and left his favorite chips behind because he knew it was what his mom liked? That was different. Most people didn't think that way. Didn't put others first. 8-year-old kids definitely didn't typically think that way. I was a grown-ass man and struggled to do the put others first. 8-year-old kids definitely didn't typically think that way. I was a grown-ass man and struggled doing the same thing. It might not sound like it, but eating 25 bags of Doritos is torture. I thought I'd die. I can't eat Cool Ranch to this day. Sounds dramatic. He grinned. You're talking to me. To this day. Sounds dramatic. He grinned. You're talking to me. Yes, I was, wasn't I? I immediately sobered and Sam laughed. Oh, man. I ruined it. I need to learn when to keep my big mouth shut. I've heard that a lot, but the message don't seem to stick. Jesus, this kid was... Hell, I couldn't figure out a word to describe him. He was fresh-faced and innocent. Honestly, seemed to enjoy talking to people and being friendly. But I could see the way he looked at me. Could see the desire reflected in his gaze. He interested me when nothing had since the day I'd woken up where I'd passed out on the sofa, went into the bedroom, and discovered my boyfriend had been murdered. 22 stab wounds. Crime of passion. I didn't want to be interested in anything, wasn't sure I had the right, but still, I asked. Just how many jobs do you have? Right now, 3. The food thing is only for a couple of weeks. Mail delivery, food delivery, and... His face turned a light pink, like the beginning of a North Carolina sunset. Instead of answering, he said, You're still talking to me? So it would appear. I'll take my food now. The steps are loose on your porch. The middle two? I'll take my food now, I repeated. Sam shook his head as if I were a child and he didn't quite know what to do with me. I couldn't say it was a look I was familiar with getting from someone, especially a man his age. Sam handed it over. He still wore the same ring, his thumbnail still black. Our fingers brushed and the pink in his cheeks darkened. Christ, this kid needed to get the hell out of this town, find somewhere he could be himself, explore and experiment with men and live his life. What do you call a pig who does karate? He asked. Excuse me? A pig who does karate. What do you call him? I frowned. Is this a southern thing I'm supposed to understand? Sam chuckled. Nope. I give up. A pork chop, he answered, and I rolled my eyes. Well, I got you to smile. Luck, I replied. The door was almost shut when he spoke again. What's your favorite? Favorite what? Kind of Doritos. Cool Ranch. The moment the words left my mouth, I closed the door. I had no business flirting with him, none at all. Favorite? Favorite what? Kind of Doritos. Cool Ranch. The moment the words left my mouth, I closed the door. I had no business flirting with him, none at all. I turned off the television and ate my cold grilled chicken sandwich and salad in silence. The evening passed with the sound of crickets and bullfrogs while I sat on the screened porch. Daniel would have hated it out here. He didn't like nature and only wanted to be outside if he was in the city. In some ways, our relationship had been complicated from the start. Initially, we'd wanted the same thing. No kids, no marriage. Daniel was everything I'd thought I wanted, but I was shit at being that for him. He loved my attention, and I didn't give it to him enough. He'd get so mad at me, stomping around and throwing a fit, but in a cute way that always reeled me in. I was never the best at paying attention, at being in the moment and showing him how I felt, until he made sure I knew I'd screwed up. He complained about my lack of attention often, so one time, I decided I was going to throw him a birthday party. I spent nearly 4 months planning it, wanting it to be a day devoted to him so he knew that even if I didn't do well at saying it daily, he meant the world to me. The day had gone off without a hitch, but afterward, it was clear he'd been upset. What are you doing? It's your birthday. You don't have to clean up, I told him when the last guest left and he began straightening up the apartment. It's fine. Daniel? I wrapped my arms around him, kissed his neck, but he immediately tensed up. Are you mad at me? His lack of response told me everything I needed to know. What did I do wrong this time? I've been planning this party for months, for you, and it's still not good enough? I want a bit more. Everything I needed to know. What did I do wrong this time? I've been planning this party for months, for you, and it's still not good enough? He sighed and shook his head. You didn't do this for me, Bentley. You did it for you. I shook those memories. It was 10 when I tried to go to sleep, but hours passed and rest didn't come. I tossed and turned, thoughts of everything and nothing keeping me awake. Frustrated, I flicked on the bedside lamp, plucked my laptop from the other side of the mattress, and thought maybe an orgasm would help me sleep. I wasn't one for staged porn. I liked things that felt more natural, closer to real life. So I logged into Men's Club. A few of the pages I subscribed to had new material. Closer to real life. So I logged into Men's Club. A few of the pages I subscribed to had new material out, but instead of clicking on the videos, I browsed through some one more time. Closer to real life. So I logged into Men's Club. A few of the pages I subscribed to had new material out, but instead of clicking on the videos, I browsed through some of the advertisements for something different. I was on the second page that I saw a video. Clicking on the videos, I browsed through some of the advertisements for something different. I was on the second page that I saw a video called Jerking It to a Guy on My Route. Clicking on the videos, I browsed through some of the advertisements for something different. It was on the second page that I saw a video. Clicking on the videos, I browsed for something different. It was on the second page that I saw a video called Jerking It to a Guy on My Route. It was a newer page. It had only been around for a couple of months, but they were running a promotion for a free week, trying to drum up business. Figuring it couldn't hurt, I subscribed, then clicked on the video that had caught my attention. I grabbed the lube and slicked up my cock as he started stroking his own. The guy had a great body, tight, with lean muscles, a sexy V-line, a light dusting of hair between his pecs, the fur slightly thicker in his happy trail, leading to the guy's thick erection and tight balls. I wasn't completely hard, but I played with myself trying to get there. He hadn't shown his face yet, and I didn't often watch headless porn. I liked to see who I was getting off to. He adjusted himself in the computer chair where he sat, reaching down with his left hand to fondle his sack. He made small, whimpering sounds, then groaned, but had yet to speak. I liked words during sex, loved talking dirty and hearing all the filthy things someone wanted to do to me. And so far, his lack of speech, coupled with not seeing his face, wasn't doing it for me. I was about to close the video when he unclenched his right fist, the one around his cock, to squirt a bit more lube into it, and holy fuck, fell from my lips when I saw the familiar thumb ring, the black nail. Blood immediately rushed to my groin, heating up my skin, making me hard. Knowing it was Sam was like a drug, one I knew I shouldn't take but couldn't stop myself from ingesting. It wasn't wrong to watch him. Sam had put the video online. He wanted to be seen, wanted men to jerk off to him. But it was clear he also didn't want anyone to know who he was. My conscience argued with my desire. But it was clear he also didn't want anyone to know who he was. My conscience argued with my desire. This felt personal, like invading his space, but again, he had it out there, posted online for the world to see. My conscience had just won out, my cock hot and hard against my stomach as I let go of it to close the video when Emerson whispered from lips I couldn't see, but knew they were pink and plump and so fuckable. Emerson. He caught, but knew they were pink and plump and so fuckable. Emerson, he said again, so soft I could hardly hear it. My dick twitched against my abs. Pre-cum leaked onto my belly. I smelled my arousal in the humid air, which turned me on even more. I couldn't stop myself from fisting my erection again, from jerking it in unison with Sam's pulls, fast and slow and languid. He didn't talk much, just moaned and said my name, his breathing heavier as he swiped at his tip with his bruised thumb. A pearl of pre-cum was there, his hand rose, and I knew he was licking it off himself. Fuck, want you? So hot. I twisted my hand around my crown, tightening my grip, jerked faster, my full balls aching and begging for more. When Sam reached down with one hand, rubbing his taint, while the other pleasured his cock until he spurted thick ribbons of cum up his belly, a needy Emerson on his lips, my own orgasm shot through me. My spine straightened and my balls drew up, my load pulsing out of me in long, fast, thick spurts covering my belly, my hand hanging from the dark hair at my groin. Sam ran his fingers through his release, then raised his arm. When his hand was in view again, it was licked clean. He did it a second time, and a third, before the video ended. I wiped my fingers on the blanket and clicked on the About section. Not everyone bothered with them, but Sam did. What's a small-town closeted gay man to do but spend his nights fantasizing about the sexy, older, mysterious man on his delivery route? If I hadn't known I was queer before, all it would have taken was one look at him. He gets me boned up every time I stop at his house to deliver my package. I mean, a package. Maybe next time he'll let me get on my knees for him. Sam ended it with a wink emoji. He only had 10 videos on his page, and I spent the night watching every one of them. None of them showed his face. All were of him jacking off, in his chair, on a bed, in the woods, in an old abandoned house, a bathroom at some public place. He didn't have much traction on his account. It hadn't been open for long. It was clear he was trying to build up his subscribers, but wasn't having much luck. All it would take was a look at his face, and I knew that would help, and to hear his sexy drawl and his smooth as honey voice. I watched my video a second time, a third, a fourth, listening to him say my name, and I knew right then and there that I was fucked. The next morning, I opened an unopened... then and there that I was fucked. The next morning, I found an unopened bag of Cool Ranch Doritos and a note by my front door. Did you hear about the circus fire? It was intense. Get it? Intense. LOL. When I smiled, it became even more obvious that I needed to stay away from Sam for good.